So you've looked at the short-term positives, and hopefully you've got a list or at least some items that you want to do. This is all about long-term positives, and you're going to want to have a look at the handout. So grab that. Long-term positives are all about digging into your values and figuring out what you want to move towards and how you can do it in practical, chunkable, doable steps. So there's a really long list of values, and the real trick here is to narrow it down. So nearly all of us think loads of the things on that list are important, and you're not committing to this value for the rest of your life. It's not like a wedding vow. It's choosing a value that's important to you in this moment and that you want to move towards. And dig deep, like really get into it. Sometimes you can do two, but it's way more effective to focus really intensely just on one. So narrow it down. You may narrow it down to two and then do pros and cons. Figure out, okay, what are the pros of working on this one? What are the pros of working on that one? Cons. Figure out which one you're actually going to really get into. Once you've figured out what your value is, then you need to figure out your goals. So what are the things that you would like to do associated with that value? And nearly always there are a bunch of different types of goals that are associated with any value. So you want to think very broadly about these and come up with lots of different options so that you can choose one that feels like it's something that's doable and that you'd like to move towards right now. You can always come back to the other ideas, but again, really getting down to that one and really focusing in depth on that one is an important step here. Once you've chosen that one, make your plan. And this is all about breaking it down into small, workable steps. So one of the values I had was to feel more embedded in my community here. And I brainstormed a bunch of goals. And there were lots of different goals, but eventually I decided that what I wanted to do was to make connections with 3 different groups in the area. And so I made a plan, and the plan involved like researching what the different groups around the area were, researching the kinds of activities that I could do really close to my place and a little bit further away, and then taking steps towards making contact with the different groups around here and exploring them and going to group meetings and meeting people. So it was small workable steps for each of the different groups, one at a time, starting with researching, then moving on to making contact, then moving on to physically attending. And that got a little harder during the pandemic, let's be honest. So I wasn't able to do some of the later steps because the pandemic hit and then it became impossible to meet people in person. But it felt really great to be moving towards a value that I held really dear and that I really wanted in my life. And each of those steps feels like building mastery. It feels like you're doing something, it's developing, you're getting better at it, you're getting closer to the goal that you'd like. So all of that juicy dopamine gets flowing through your system. And it flows further when you review. So it's really helpful to see, am I meeting my goal? Am I moving towards it? Is this effective? Are the steps I'm taking the right ones to be taking? And that's long-term positives. And this is something that every time you come back to it, if you do this DBT course more than once, you're likely to dig deeper and you're likely to maybe find something different that you want to work on and figure out how to make your life the one that you'd like exactly a little bit more. I think this is one that really helps you to get to know yourself better and helps you to get more of what you want in your life, which is, of course, amazing for reducing emotion mind, bringing you towards balance, bringing you towards wise mind, and helping you to have a life that's less jerked around by emotions and more chosen.